Okay, I'm gonna try to do Uber Elder with the last rate version of Flying Purple People. Just did the Guardians, so we'll see how this goes. Is there anything I want to swap out? I think I should probably grab another Freeze Flask instead of the Unholy Might Flask. Do I have a... yeah. Other than that, normal setup. Hello, friend. Last time I tried this with multi-strike, it was really annoying because I couldn't target the actual boss I wanted to hit.
Putrefy.
See how this goes.
Spoil and fester.
Exile, do something.
My spirit is spent.
Do-do-do. Aw, my totems died. If I get hit by the balls, I'm pretty sure I'm just dead. So if you could, like, not do that, that would be great. Oh, shit. Can I hit something yet? Burst. The suck. Oh god, phase, okay. Thought I had to dodge more balls while I was stuck in that little circle. Once you position so you're gonna hit everything anyway, the lacerate multi-strike isn't too annoying yet. I haven't had an invuln boss stand next to another boss though. Oh, that hurt.
Embrace my misery.
Where's Shaper? There he is. I don't know how that didn't hit me. It was right next to him. Okay, so this is what I mean. I can't... Oh shit, I couldn't target this thing. Because I had Shaper and Elder next to me. And I'm having slightly annoying mana issues sometimes. Oh, that hurt. Phased. Add phase. Give me flasks, please. Oh, shit. I can almost outleech the beam. Did you see that? If I had a little bit more leech, I could probably outleech the beam. It's like break even. Look at that. It's almost even.
My spirit is spent.
With Blood Rage up too. Okay, so we need to get rid of Shaper.
Gaze to the abyss.
Get out of here. Colleague Strike. Colleague Strike. I can't call this one. What the hell? That was actually pretty clean. I thought I was gonna have more issues than that. Not bad, not bad. Give me Watcher's Eye, please. Fuck. A bunch of garbage. Feels Eggman. What's up, YouTube? Demi here with a build guide update for the new and improved Flying Purple People, my two-handed Resolute technique Slayer. This works with literally every melee skill that's AoE in the game. So I'll show you how to figure out the links to that as we get further in the video. But the concept is a super tanky, medium DPS super fast leeching and all content viable build that you can start with as a league starter and work your way up into endgame very, very easily. There's a leveling guide in the forum guide, and all of the information is in the forum guide in the description of this video. If you don't want to listen to me rant about it for 10 minutes, whatever, it's down there. So let's get started. Skill tree. You are a Slayer. Why? Because we get a ton of benefits. We get overkill damage, leeches life, which is the most important thing. It's the best part about being a Slayer. Basically what this means is that every time let's say an enemy has like 1,000 health and I hit it for, I don't know, 100,000 damage, I get 20% of the damage as life leech, so I get to leech 20,000 damage from that one enemy, right? It just kind of stacks up over time as an overkill leech pile, more or less, right? So if I kill like 20 enemies, I'm gonna have a huge overkill leech here, and as I take damage, I will continuously leech that at my maximum life leech rate, and it's basically like you're having a really powerful life pot going at all times. It's hilarious. It lasts about 30 seconds until it runs out of like whatever the damage number that you leeched is. It's a long time. It makes lab running incredibly easy. It makes boss fighting really easy. It makes mapping in general a breeze. Anytime you run out of like mobs to kill, you have a good shield still. And as you notice, I don't carry any life pots because I don't need them. I'm a Slayer. After that, we get Brutal Fervor. This helps you increase how fast you achieve maximum life leech cap. And it also means that you don't get to remove the full life stuff. Actually, I made a mistake. The full life leech is here, not here. But yeah, this is your normal lab, this is your cool lab. As soon as you get that leech stuff, you're good to go. And on this side, you get more damage if you killed recently. That's just generic more damage. You get a huge on AoE. You cannot take reflected physical damage, which used to mean you could run any map in the game with this, but we are now using Hatred and Herald of Ash, so I have Cold Fire, which means this doesn't help as much, but it's still kind of nice. You can run Fizz Reflect maps, no problem. And then after that, we got Bane of Legends. This gives you 20-second onslaught whenever you kill a rare unique. So that means while mapping, you have onslaught all the time. And for most bosses, that's enough time to kill them. 20 seconds is a long time to kill a boss. You also get a 20% culling strike, which is hard to translate directly into how much overall damage that gives. But if Shaper has 20 million health, you can cull him when he's at 4 million. Did I do that math right? Something like that. That might be wrong. I don't know. I'm pretty sure that's right. But yeah, so the skill tree is a lot of generic stuff at the beginning, right? So we get attack speed, we got life, we got some more attack speed, no movement penalties from armor, which is nice for leveling. Bunch of life nodes, just generic melee damage, weapon range, and then we take generic two-handed nodes. Great. Down here we can grab life nodes. I wouldn't grab this stuff quite yet. I'll go grab more generic two-handed damage nodes. Maybe Crimson Dance if you want. And then I'd head up and grab some more life nodes and some unwavering stance stuff. And then maybe that'll probably put you good at like, I don't know, level 30 or 40. Then you can probably grab Vault Pact, not Vault Pact, grab the leech stuff. And if you feel comfortable, once you get Cruel Lab done, you got the life leech effects are not removed at full life, then you can grab Vault Pact. And then you start grabbing more leech stuff. You can grab some attack speed, some life, head over here, grab a bunch of damage with two-handeds, grab Resolute Technique, probably around level, I don't know, 50, 60, depending on how many skill points you get. This is important. It gives you hits can't be evaded. That means that you have 100% chance to hit. You don't have to worry about accuracy anymore. You don't have to worry about stacking dexterity to get accuracy. Doesn't matter. We also can't crit, but again, doesn't matter. We can't miss, so that's great. And then depending on what weapon type you choose, because again, this works with every weapon type and every melee skill, you can choose maces, you can choose axes, or you can choose swords. This would be Starforge, Disfavor, and then like, I don't know, Merly Urki or something, depending on what level of currency you're working with. I take axes right now because I'm using a two-handed axe, rare. And I take the bottom side of the tree because it is the most efficient. You get attack speed and physical damage. It's kind of the same for swords. You get attack speed, physical damage with the south part, and then maces, the top part, is attack speed, physical damage. So that's like the more efficient side. If you need more damage overall, just grab both. And then you grab more life, bunch of stuff and damage up here, a little bit of Ellie Pen with weapons, and then some more generic damage and attack and cast speed and life nodes. After that, you pick up all your jewel sockets and work out the rest of the tree. I should explain how Life Leech works. So normally you have 20% of your maximum Life Leech per second, which for me is about, I don't know, 1.75k, I think. And then Vault Pact doubles that to 40%, but before it doubles, I guess it doesn't matter when or after its multiplication, right? You get 3% max Life Leech here, puts you at 23%. You get 3% here, 26%, 3% here, 29%, which is then doubled through Vault Pact to be 58% max Life Leech rate. And then, in addition to that, if you have an Elder Belt, you can get 20% increased life recovery rate, which is another more multiplier. So that multiplies it to like something around, I don't know, 60, 65%, if I did the math right. I don't know. It's a lot of life recovery rate. It's dumb. If you're really bored, you can also swap out Hatred for Vitality, and then get a Watcher's Eye that gives life recovery rate while affected by Vitality for even more overall life leech rate. It's a more multiplier. And if you're really, really bored, you can take, where is it? Solavera Kali with Queen of the Great Tangle for another 50% increased recovery rate of life and energy shield if you stop taking damage over time recently, which for us is we have Blood Rage. It's a physical degen over time, right? Every time our Immortal Call procs, we get immunity to physical damage, so you get that 50% increased recovery rate because you stop taking physical damage over time. It's kind of dumb. I didn't use that for the Uber Elder kill. You can. I don't feel like I need it. I prefer this one. It's totally up to you though. Other Pantheon, I have Solar Growth Coal for Phys reduction for every hit we've taken recently, and then nerfing enemies' attack speed. You can swap this around however you like. If you want to do chaos damage maps, you can take this for reduced chaos damage taken, immunity to poison. It doesn't really matter. Totally up to you. Bandits, just kill all. I always forget to say those. I actually remembered this time. So, Jewel Sockets. In the tree, you're going to want to prioritize whichever you need first. If it's life, get life. If it's damage, get damage. I have life triple damage jewels in every single slot. So life, attack speed, attack speed, damage. Life, attack speed, damage. You know, it's just everything. All the same. They're all the same type of jewels. Depending on what type of weapon you choose, you can go for axes, maces, or swords again. Or even staves if you really wanted to. Staves are kind of shit though. My jewels are all very, very, very similar. Except for the one on my belt, because it's an Abyssal Jewel, which is over here. So for the Abyssal Jewel, you're going to want to go for life and fizz damage. You can get blind on hit. It's a little bit of fizz, or it's a little bit of like defensive mechanic on it. We don't need onslaught, so don't worry about that. You could also get Unholy Might on kill if you wanted to drop the Sin's Rebirth flask. It is fairly expensive, and honestly, I should probably drop this and grab a different flask, because it's like, do I really care about... I don't know, I could just put it here and lose a little bit of a fizz damage roll. Maybe lose the blind and get onslaught. I don't know, totally up to you. So, rest of the gear. We are going to be using mostly rares. If you're starting out, you're just going to want to look for like a high DPS two-handed weapon, physical DPS. So look up PDPS on pw.com/trade or pathofexile.com/trade, or pw.trade, I don't know what I said the first time. Right, prioritize damage. There's a lot of like 400 DPS, 1 alch uniques. You got like Kongor's Undying Rage, you have Moroi Urki, you have Doomsour, Kondo's Pride. I don't even know. There's like 2 or 3 for every type of weapon. So whatever you can get, or whatever you choose, get that. Prioritize that as your first one, and then just scale it up into endgame. For axes, you can then go Disfavor. For swords, you can go Starforge, but if you use Starforge, you don't get to use Hatred and Herald of Ash. Keep that in mind. So that'd be good. That'd be a good candidate for the Vitality Watchers, I think. And then maces don't really have an upgrade past about 450 DPS, so that one's kind of awkward. But yeah, up to you. And after that, if you want to scale past the 600, 700 PDPS mark with a unique, you can go into the rare section. This is my Painbane axe. I've been working on this forever now. It is approximately 763 DPS, according to the Path of Trade macro. When I finish this, it should be around 1060 PDPS. So give me a couple, I don't know, I'll link the crafting video for the last session in the description of this video. And then the rest of your gear is all rares, as I mentioned earlier. Helmet slot, life resist. If you can get a physical damage taken as Ellie helmet, which comes from Incursion or Fossils. All right, yeah, one of those two. Get one of those, it's a lot of fizz mitigation, because this makes it go against my fire resistance, which is 76. That means I get 7.6% mitigation from that physical damage taken as fire. Pretty good. Chest piece, same thing. You're going to want life resist. If you can get fizz taken as Ellie, great. It comes on Elder and Shaper chest. You can also Essence of Horror chest for, again, another physical taken as Ellie mod. Ideally, I should have physical taken as cold here, but you can't get physical taken as cold unless you're on a Shaper chest, which just sucks, because I'm using a Taste of Hate, which increases my cold mitigation, basically, so, you know, whatever. Belt life recovery rate, if you can get it, prioritize that, and then you're going to want life resist. Any type of damage mod with an Elder belt is great. You can get attack speed, you can get melee damage, weapon elemental damage is great as well. Life, you know, whatever. Boots, life resist. You don't actually need movement speed unless you plan on playing the Cyclone variant of this skill. I just happen to have it. But life resist, if you need int, if you need dex, whatever, grab it. You will need a fair amount of int on gear. I have it all on my amulet, basically. And then you should be good on dex from like 1 dex item as well. But amulet slot, you're going to want an Elder Amulet. You're going to want to prioritize the maximum life leech rate. This is the only slot of any gear in the game where you can get maximum life leech rate. So your amulet should have that. After that, get life resist, damage, intelligence, whatever you need, right? This is all the stuff that I need, minus life. It's just a ton of damage, a ton of leech, and all the stats that I needed. Ring slots, you're going to want to prioritize probably steel rings or opal rings, whichever one is better for you. Check Path of Building, I'm not 100% sure. But I have damage, life prefixes with resist, more or less, right? You can also craft attack speed as a suffix on rings now, which is really powerful. But my rings look more or less identical. Yeah, they're pretty much the same. And then you got your glove slot, which for me, I'm using a pair of Insanity gloves, which is an essence. It gives you more attack and cast speed for the socketed gems. And of course, I have my movement skill in there so that my leap slam is really, 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 really fast. That's good. Okay, so let's get into, I guess I can do flask real quick. I'm using a Taste of Hate. This gives you 30% extra, sorry, it gives you physical damage as extra cold, which is more damage, right? But it also gives you physical damage taken as cold during flask effect and less cold damage taken. So that translates into a lot of cold mitigation and physical mitigation, which is great defensively. And then I also have a Basalt Flask for freeze immunity. This is our only non-unique flask, unless you get rid of the Sins of Rebirth, of course. This would be, has to be freeze. We're bleed immune because of our ascendancy. So that's the only ailment we need to really worry about. If you wanted to, you could drop this for a Curse Flask, would be pretty good if you're going to be mapping a lot. Just use a Curse Flask in that slot. But Sins of Rebirth gives you Unholy Might. What Unholy Might does is it gives you 30% of your physical damage as extra chaos damage. And since we have a ton of physical damage, we get a ton of chaos damage out of it. Pretty nice. Lion's Roar, what does this give us? More melee damage, more melee physical damage specifically. So all of our damage is based off phase, and then it's just a more multiplier to that. You also get knockback, which is kind of like a defensive mechanic when you're mapping. You can push enemies away from you into walls or whatever, and they just stop dealing damage and die. It's great. Adzere's Promise, this gives you chaos resistances, which is, you know, pretty good defensive buff, as well as giving you percentage of your physical damage and percent of your Ellie damage as extra chaos damage, along with some leech on top of that. We don't really need to worry about the leech too much, but it's a ton of extra damage. And now we'll get into the gem links. So for the main 6 link, depending on what skill you choose, it's going to change here. So I'm using Lacerate, so my links would be in order of priority. They would be Lacerate, Multi-Strike, and then I would be going for melee physical damage, probably increased AoE / conk effect for bossing after that. And then my 5th link would be damage on full life, 6th link would be hypothermia. Right, so we get really fast attacks with good AoE, and then we get, because we're a Slayer and we're always leeching to full health almost instantly, we'll have damage on full life buff all the time. And then hypothermia, whenever you're dealing cold damage, you basically chill everything all the time, so you get a more multiplier against chilled enemies, which is pretty powerful. So now let me show you how to get your, what's it called? New gem links, right? So say you wanted to use, I don't know, pick a random skill. Let's show Cyclone, for example. Cyclone. Put it in our chest, doesn't really matter. And then you just select the skill in Path of Building, which I will link in the description of this video. And then you just add the links. It'll tell you the most damage if you have your configuration set up correctly, which I do since I have this. This is the one that's linked in the forum guide. You just add the links after that. You have to do a little bit of thinking here because the Bloodlust is a more multiplier against bleeding enemies, but you can't inflict bleeding. So we don't want to use that because we can't inflict bleed with Cyclone anymore. So skip that one, but then you can add Conk Effect, damage on full life, melee physical damage, hypothermia, and maim, right? And then you would swap out Conk Effect for area of effect for bossing, right? And that would be your 6-link setup, which is pretty good. And then that works for literally any other skill. So say I wanted to play, I don't know, Tectonic Slam seems pretty popular right now. Select Tectonic Slam, add your links. Again, skip Bloodlust because we don't want that. Conk Effect, damage on full life, melee physical damage, hypothermia. You're noticing a theme here, and then you have a choice between going super fast attack speed with multi-strike or going damage per hit with Ruthless. I generally recommend multi-strike all of the time, except for if you are playing Earthquake or skills that can't use multi-strike. So there would be that. There you go. There's Tectonic Slam. Let's add another one. What other skills we got that is fairly popular? Let's do the Earthquake setup. So for Earthquake, there's a little bit of catch here. You want less duration. Oh, I didn't select the gem, which means it's not going to work. You want to use less duration here, which is not a main DPS weapon, because this doesn't include the aftershock damage. It only includes the main hit. So you have to like select it separately. You can scale each one differently. but I want to scale the both, right? So I'm going to go for less duration, and then I'll go for whatever it says. Conk effect, damage on full life, melee physical damage, hypothermia. Are you noticing a trend here? All of the gem setups have the same like core 4 link, and then you have like one open for whatever else you want. We'll do one more example. Let's do something weird. How about an AoE melee skill that no one plays? Sweep. Sweep's pretty bad, but you can do it. It's allowed. All right, sweep, and then we're gonna want multi-strike so we can become a stand helicopter, stand clone. And then look, conk effect, damage on full life, melee physical damage, and hypothermia. Wow, what a surprise, right? Okay, so there you go. You know how to do that. As for the rest of your gem links, you have a 6-link Ancestral Warchief, Vol Ancestral Warchief specifically. This was buffed. You can get both skills from the actual Vol gem now. Just the Vol gem gives you both skills. So I get Warchief and I get Vol Warchief. That is linked to the brand new multiple totem support, which is again really stupid. It gives you +2 maximum summon totems, and then you summon 2 at a time. So instead of just having 1 totem out all the time, I can have 3. Oh, wait on my mana. Hang on. Normally I'm at full mana. Look at that. I got 3 totems out, and then with the Vol setup, you get to have 2 Vol totems out as well, and then 2 regular totems. It's stupidly good now. After that, in order of priority, you're gonna want to use Maim, so that you get the chance to maim on hit for bossing. It makes enemies take 10% increased physical damage, which is a more multiplier. And then you'll use melee physical damage, conk effect, and then bloodlust. Your main attack will be inflicting bleed because of our skill tree, and then we'll be getting the more multiplier against bleeding enemies for the Warchief. Other links, we got our movement skill, leap slam, fortify, faster attacks, and blood magic. Because we have a relatively low amount of mana, we don't want to be worrying about running out of mana while trying to move in the last-ditch effort to dodge something, for example. You don't want your mana to run out. So blood magic's pretty important there. And then I have those again in the Insanity Gloves for the fastest possible movement speed. Attack speed, sorry. If you don't have Insanity Gloves, you can put it in wherever, but if you have Insanity Gloves, put your movement skill there. Other links, we have a War Banner here. This is one of our auras. We're also using Herald of Ash and Hatred. Hatred gives you physical damage as extra cold, same as Taste of Hate. And then Herald of Ash gives you physical damage as extra fire, along with a nice overkill effect. If you hit an enemy really hard for that last hit, if you're using a skill like Earthquake, for example, it's going to be a massive hit from the Aftershock. It'll overkill 25% of that damage to everything around it as a burning dot. It does a lot of damage and helps clear packs. Really cool. It also looks good as well. I'm also using Orb Banner, as I mentioned, but this gives you nearby enemies take increased physical damage, another more multiplier. Alongside, you get stages when you kill things, and when you want to drop it, you can drop the flag, and it'll give you a buff that gives you Adrenaline. Adrenaline is like the Champion Ascendancy buff. Let me show you. Down here, you get this Adrenaline buff here. Adrenaline gives you 100% increased damage, 25% increased attack, cast, and movement speed, and 10% phys mitigation. So it's really, really, really powerful. And you get that, what was it, for like 0.05 times 50, what is that, 2.5 seconds? When you place it, that's enough to usually burst any rare or boss, and it stacks. So you can get 50 stacks, drop it, kill something, pick it back up, run away. As for our cast when damage taken setup, we're using Immortal Call for the phys immunity for 0.4 seconds, along with a vulnerability curse. If you want defensive setup here, you could put Enfeeble. If you want slightly higher damage but more hard to proc, you could use Punishment. It only gives you damage bonus when things melee you. Or if you want generic Ellie damage reduction, you could use Ellie Weakness. I also have a Lightning Golem here for the attack and cast speed. If you're struggling with damage taken, I would recommend a Chaos Golem. But this gives you attack and cast speed for your movement skill and your main attack skill, so it feels better. Is there anything else that I miss? Enchants, Helm Enchant. Whatever your main skill is, get the damage enchant for it. I'm using Lacerate, I got Lacerate damage. If you're using Cyclone, Cyclone damage. If you're using Sweep, Sweep damage. If you're using Tectonic Slam, you're probably going to want chance to create a Charged Slam. Wait, no, we don't have Endurance Charge Generation. Probably just damage. If you're playing something weird like, say, Infernal Blow, you're going to have to do some research to figure out which one is the best option for you. But Path of Building makes that pretty easy, so I can just select my helmet here, which is called Behemoth Dome. Boop, and then I can just apply the enchantment. So if I wanted to switch to, I don't know what skill is I using otherwise, Tectonic Slam, yeah, you just choose whichever one, right? And it'll tell you, based on the enchant that you apply, it's going to give me less damage, obviously, because it's not Lacerate, so it can tell you which one's the best. As for your gloves, you're going to want to go for Commandment of Fury on hit, or any of Fury. The highest tier is Commandment. This throws your weapon out in an arc in front of you. It converts half of it to fire, and it's like a lot of projectiles. It gives you a bunch of AoE clear. It helps break barrels. It's clear speed in a glove enchant. It's nice. And as for your boots, if you have two-tone boots, obviously you don't want to re-enchant them because you lose the implicit, but otherwise you can go for like attack and cast speed if you killed recently, damage penetration, 10% resist if you haven't killed recently, because we are a lot of LE damage now. So that's a lot of extra damage for your glove or for boot enchant. If you really need Leech, I guess you can go for Leech enchant, but you shouldn't. We have like a lot of attack damage leeches life and a little bit of mana damage leeches life. Mana leeched as life rather. Yeah, it's good. Is there anything that I missed? I don't think so. I played this character for like probably 2 years now, since Slayer was introduced more or less, and I've been revamping it and upgrading it every single league. All of my gear is self-crafted. If I remember, I'll link crafting videos for each item. It's also all up in my thread for mirror service, which is again linked in the description of this video. So if you want to make an exact copy of this character, I'd recommend everything except for the weapon. Don't mirror this, it's not done yet. I'm working on it. But if you enjoyed the video, yeah, I would advise you click the like button. It helps me a lot, as this is my full-time job. It helps get the video out to other people. And what else is there to say? I don't know, links to my Twitter, my Twitch, my Discord, a bunch of other playlists are in the description of this video. If you want to support me, there's a link to my merch as well, and my Patreon. But yeah, I think I'll end it at that. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and that'll be Demi out. I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.